Yeah, this holiday season, we take time to reflect and renew.
And in a year that's seen so much conflict and turmoil, you may be wondering, how do you hold on to your faith? Fox 8's Sharon Crowley is here. And Sharon, you sat down with some familiar faces for this story.
I did. We needed some advice, especially after the election, right? Maybe a lot of families know that they've had some political divisions. We've certainly seen it in the country and sometimes in our homes as well. So we decided to get some advice from some of the most influential faith leaders in New York City to figure out how we can all get along a little better.
The world's always been divided. Christmas, of course, is a natural and a supernatural fixer to the division that seems to be innate into the human condition.
Nothing matters more than a family. Nothing matters more than a friend. And if you can't manage to disagree with a friend, that's not a real relationship.
When we talk about healing, we have to acknowledge that we're in pain. And so now history has divided us, and we find ourselves in different places. And it can't be a case of right and wrong. It has to be a case of let's listen to one another.
President-elect Trump's victory defeating Vice President Kamala Harris exposed deep political divisions in the country.
We're going to help our country heal.
Differences so strong in some cases, the election results creating rifts inside our own families. So this holiday season, we turn to some of New York City's most powerful faith leaders to hear what they believe about healing relationships in our homes and in our country.
What Christmas does, though, is call us back to the essentials. Calling us back to the essentials. If you think about it, many of the things that we might be divided over are not all that essential.
Timothy Cardinal Dolan leads the Roman Catholic Archdiocese of New York.
Christmas is kind of that frozen moment when things are as they are meant to be.
Cardinal Dolan says Christmas is an opportunity to focus on what we share in common when we get together.
My dad used to tend bar, and I remember when I was a kid, I'd go in, he'd let me dry the glasses. And there was a sign saying, everybody's welcome here, have a good time, no talking about politics, religion, or sex. Now, not bad. In other words, they were saying, we got some boundaries here.
And when we find ourselves at odds with one another?
What we're really saying is to the other person with whom we disagree and on whom we'd like to land the first punch, we're sort of saying, you've got control over me. Why let that destroy us, okay? That's going to pass, and next Christmas we're not even going to remember it, okay? It's always better to concentrate on what unites us, all right? What unites us. Now, I'm not an expert in politics. I hope I am a bit of an expert in what unites us. And Christmas reminds us of what unites us. And we're also all patriotic Americans, all right, who rejoice, even though we might disagree over the results of, say, like elections, we all rejoice that we live in a democracy where this works.
This year, Hanukkah and Christmas coincide, right? One day of Hanukkah is on Christmas Day, which happens about 5 times in a century. What's the message there? I think the message is that with one candle, I can light many others, and it doesn't diminish the integrity of that one candle.
Rabbi Joseph Potasnik is the executive vice president of the New York Board of Rabbis.
I can have my opinion. I can hold my candle, and you can have yours, and we don't have to extinguish the other. We can bring more brightness into the room. I think that's what God intended.
Rabbi Potasnik suggests we embrace our different points of view.
We have an interesting tradition in the Jewish faith. You walk into a room, and there's a crowd of people, you recite a blessing. Thank you, God, for creating people whose faces and minds are different from one another. What does that tell you? That we don't all think alike, we don't all look alike. God created first the family.
We have to listen to one another. We claim to love each other, but we love each other only when I'm right. And so we've got to get back to we being family together.
Reverend Jacques DeGraff spoke to me at the historic Union Baptist Church in Harlem.
We have made a political choice. America made a political choice, but families precede America. And one could even make a case, families supersede America. And if we are a family, part of our tradition is stick together. And sticking together means that even when there's turbulence, that we have to be honest, talk to one another, and then listen to one another. Not just hear one another, listen, and then trying to find common ground to come together. There's some tensions, but we made a commitment before God that we were going to stick together. That's what our tradition teaches us, and that's what faith is all about.
Reverend DeGraff also reminds us to be grateful.
America is still the envy of the world. People come here from all over because of what they think we have. It's to be treasured, and we don't want our treasure to be lost, and then we recognize its value. And so it's worth working at, and it's worth working at in faith. Faith is not a passive Sunday morning experience. Faith is how we live our lives. And we ought to live our lives in a way that we would follow that North Star and others would follow us.
Sharon Crowley, Fox 5 News.
All right, a little bit of inspiration ahead of the holidays for you. It's something to think about as we get together with our families. And if you're interested in hearing a little bit more, we have a Fox 5 Finding Faith special on Christmas Day at 12:30, 5:30, and 10:30, and I hope you guys will check it out.
We will.
Absolutely.
Love it. Very
yes.
good.